You are not trying to win the lottery. You are remembering that you already have. There is no trying in the realm of spirit, no force, no striving, just being. To win the lottery is not to beg reality but to master it, not by effort but by embodiment. The numbers, the ticket, the jackpot, they are effects. You must become the cause. Close your eyes and step out of the world you know. Enter the place where the senses grow quiet and the heart speaks. In that inner sanctuary, you must feel the weight of the check in your hand. See your name printed across it. Hear the voice congratulating you. Smell the scent of newness, of freedom. This is not fantasy. This is creation. All that ever was or will be begins in the invisible. So now, choose the scene. Not one of waiting, but one of having. Don't imagine yourself buying the ticket. Imagine yourself after the win. What do you do? Who do you call? Where do you go? Let that version of you take the stage. And once you see it clearly, feel it deeply. Saturate your body in the feeling of wealth. Let your heart race not with doubt but with gratitude. Say to yourself, it is done. Not as a plea, but as a command. Every time the thought comes, what if I don't win? Return to the end. Let nothing pull you out of your inner knowing. The world may look the same, but it has already shifted. The money is not coming, it is already yours. You are the operant power. You decide when. You decide how. But you do not force it, you do not chase it, you live it within. And by divine law, the world must conform. So hold no fear, release all doubt. Play the part of the one who has already won. Speak only from that place. Act only from that place. And when the bridge of events begins to unfold, whether days, weeks, or months, walk it calmly. You have already crossed the finish line in consciousness. That is exactly how you win the lottery. Not by luck, by law. You don't win the lottery by chance. You win by alignment. What you see on the outside is not the cause of your wealth, it is the result. The numbers, the jackpot, the ticket, they are all shadows cast by your internal reality. And until that inner state changes, nothing outward will move. The external world is simply a mirror, faithfully reflecting back to you what you accept as true within. To win the lottery is not to beat the odds, but to align with the version of yourself who already has. The odds do not matter to the man or woman who lives from the end. They don't consider probability because they understand something deeper. Reality is not a matter of statistics. It is a matter of consciousness. The one who wins is not lucky. They are prepared, not by effort or strategy, but by state. They have entered the identity of a winner long before the world agrees with them. And because they have done so, the world must comply. The ticket is a prop. The announcement is a confirmation. The real event took place long before, in the silence of the imaginal realm. You must understand this truth. Reality is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Your beliefs are projecting themselves outward in form. People, events, and even so-called random chances. But nothing is random. Everything is a response. Everything is a mirror held up to the inner picture you carry. When you think of the lottery as something out there, you separate yourself from it. You make it something to chase, something to deserve, something to strive for. But the moment you bring it within, the moment you say, it is already mine, you collapse the gap between desire and possession. There is no distance in consciousness. There is only now. The mirror does not lie. If you see lack in your life, if you feel unworthy, if you dwell in doubt or impatience, the mirror will faithfully reflect those feelings. But if you revise your inner world, if you speak as one who has, feel as one who owns, and think as one who already lives in abundance, the mirror has no choice. It must change. But here is the key. You do not wait for the mirror to change before you smile. You smile first. You do not wait to see the numbers match before you feel the joy of winning. You feel the joy first. You act from the assumption that you have already received. And the outer world becomes your echo. People will call it coincidence. They will say you were lucky, but you will know the truth. You will know that it happened because you dared to believe in what could not yet be seen. You aligned with a truth no one else could see until the mirror revealed it. This is the secret. The lottery is not out there. It is in here. It always was. And when your inner state becomes one with the reality of wealth, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. That is not chance. That is law. Buying a ticket is merely a physical motion, a symbol of participation in the game, but it is not the true key. The real ticket, the one that actually holds the power to unlock the experience of winning, is not found in your wallet but in your imagination. It is not paper and ink. It is the scene you construct in your mind and feel as if it were happening now. That is the true ticket. That is what wins. Most people believe that taking action is the only way to change their lives. They rush to play, to hustle, to plan. But the realm of cause is not physical. It is imaginal. It is the invisible world of thought and feeling where all things are first formed. The unseen always precedes the seen. Every fortune, every win, every transformation begins as an imaginal seed, quietly planted in the fertile ground of inner awareness. To imagine winning the lottery is not to fantasize or pretend. It is to engage in the deliberate act of creation. You close your eyes and you step into the reality where the win has already occurred. You hear the words of celebration, see the bank balance, feel the check in your hand, and allow the emotion to saturate your body. You make it so real inwardly that the outer world must eventually catch up. That imaginal act is the true ticket. It holds more weight than any action because it shifts the state from which all action springs. When you persist in an imaginal scene that implies fulfillment, you alter your self-concept. And once your self-concept changes, the world mirrors it with unwavering accuracy. Most who buy tickets never truly believe they will win. They hope. They wish. But they do not claim it as done. Their imagination remains passive, uncertain, filled with doubt. And so they remain in a state of wanting. And the mirror of life reflects their longing, not their fulfillment. But the one who understands the power of imagination approaches it differently. They do not imagine to escape life. They imagine to create it. They know that their inner world is the workshop of reality, and so they construct scenes that match their desire. They don't beg the universe to give. They feel what it's like to have already received. They do not wait to see it before believing. They believe and then see. You must not mistake the outer act for the cause. Anyone can buy a ticket. Few will win. But those who win internally, who create and inhabit the scene of victory before it arrives, these are the true masters. They use their imagination not as a daydream, but as a blueprint. So the next time you hold that ticket, ask yourself, have I already won in my imagination? Have I felt the joy, the peace, the celebration of victory? If not, begin there. Because until you possess it inwardly, it cannot become yours outwardly. Imagination is the true ticket, not a maybe, not a fantasy, but the very power that draws all things into your experience. Use it deliberately, consistently, and faithfully. The moment you do, the numbers start aligning, not because of luck, but because your world has no choice but to mirror your inner conviction. Before the money arrives, before the numbers match, before the check is in your hand, you must feel it, not as a hope, not as a wish, but as a present reality. This is the unseen work. This is the real path to manifestation. You must emotionally dwell in the state of being a lottery winner, long before the outer world shows you any evidence. Because in truth, it is not the money that creates the feeling, it is the feeling that creates the money. To feel is to claim. To feel is to accept. When you feel rich, when you feel abundant, when you feel free, you signal to the universe that this is your truth. And reality, like a faithful servant, begins to shape itself around that internal vibration. Form always follows feeling. It has no choice. The world is not reacting to your words or your actions. It is responding to your inner state. People wait to see results before they allow themselves to feel successful. They wait for proof. They say, I'll feel like a winner when I win. But that is not the law. That is not creation. That is reaction. Creation begins when you move first, when you feel the outcome into being, not after the outcome has arrived. So what does it feel like to win the lottery? Not what does it look like, but what does it feel like? That's where the power lies. Is it relief? Is it joy? Is it peace? Is it the quiet knowing that everything has changed? Let that feeling rise. Let it soak through every cell of your being. Sit in that energy. Walk in that energy. Speak from that energy. This is how you call it in. This is how the unseen becomes seen. It doesn't matter what your bank account says right now. It doesn't matter if people around you laugh or doubt. What matters is the inner climate you cultivate, the emotion you entertain. Because when you feel the truth of something before the evidence, you bend time, you speed the process, you step into alignment with a version of yourself that already lives in the outcome. Imagination alone is not enough. It must be charged with feeling. You can visualize all day, but if you feel lack while you do it, you are not creating, you are contradicting, you are canceling your own power. But when the feeling matches the desire, when you feel wealth as surely as you feel your breath, then you've done it. You've created the invisible mold that the world will pour itself into. Do not wait to feel. That is the trap. Begin now. Imagine checking your bank account and seeing numbers you've never seen before. Feel the tears of joy. Feel the deep breath of freedom. Feel the shift in your identity. And don't just feel it for a moment. Live in it. Return to it. Revisit it every day until it feels natural. Because when the feeling becomes natural, the result becomes inevitable. The money does not lead, it follows. The form does not lead, it follows the feeling. So feel the money before you ever touch it, and by law it must come. Hope is not enough. Hope is a subtle admission that what you desire is still far away. It is a statement that says, I wish it would happen, but I do not yet believe it has. Hope has its place. It may be the spark that awakens you, but it cannot carry you to manifestation. To truly win, to truly create, you must leave hope behind and enter into faith. Not blind faith, but living faith. The kind that sees the invisible and calls it real. The kind that says, I have already won, long before the world echoes that truth. You do not win the lottery by waiting for the numbers to align. You win by becoming the person for whom the win is already a part of their identity. This is what it means to live in the end, to dwell not in the desire, but in the fulfillment. To see yourself not as someone trying to win, but as someone who already has. There is a world of difference between the two. When you hope, you place the outcome in the future, it is always just out of reach, something that may or may not come depending on circumstances. But when you live in the end, you bring the outcome into the present. You clothe yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You walk, speak, and think from the state of completion, not anticipation. Living in the end is not pretending, it is choosing. Choosing to occupy a new reality in consciousness before it has appeared in form. You accept the end as fact, not because the senses confirm it, but because your inner knowing has claimed it. This is the secret of all creation. The world responds not to what you want, but to who you are being. And who you are being is shaped entirely by the state you inhabit. Are you in the state of waiting or the state of having? Are you thinking from your desire or are you thinking of it? Thinking from the end means that you are already there. You are no longer chasing the dream, you are living it internally with such richness, such clarity that the world must reflect it. Most people remain in the state of hope. They buy tickets, they pray, they visualize, but they never shift their identity. They still see themselves as someone who might win rather than someone who has. And so the future stretches on endlessly. The prize is always out ahead of them, never arriving. But when you move from hoping to knowing, from waiting to being, everything changes. You step into a flow where life rearranges itself to meet you at your assumption. You stop asking when it will happen, because in your heart, it already has. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and it is built not with effort, but with feeling. Steady, unwavering feeling that refuses to return to the old state of lack. So don't hope to win. Declare yourself the winner. Assume the end. Feel it now. Live from it. Walk in it. Speak as it. And the world will follow the pattern you've set in motion, not because you forced it, but because you dared to live in the end. The greatest block to manifestation is the need to control how and when it will unfold. The moment you start asking, how will it happen, or when will it come, you step out of the state of the wish fulfilled and into the state of lack. You move from knowing to questioning, from faith to fear. But creation does not require your interference. It requires your surrender. Your work is not to figure out the steps. It is to remain in the state. It is to dwell in the end and let the bridge of events appear on its own. Life has a way of unfolding in ways the mind could never predict. The conscious mind wants to plan, analyze, and calculate, but the truth is, manifestation is not logical. It is spiritual. It follows a higher intelligence that works through people, circumstances, timing, and even seeming coincidences. You are not the builder of the bridge. You are the one who crosses it. And to cross it, you must trust that it will appear, step by step, under your feet, as you remain faithful to your vision. Letting go of the how and when is not passive. It is powerful. It is the ultimate act of faith. When you let go, you are saying, I know it is done, and I don't need to interfere. I don't need to beg or question or watch the clock. I am already there in consciousness, and the outer world will catch up. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. Think of the seed planted in the soil. You do not dig it up every day to see if it has sprouted. You water it, you keep it in the right conditions, and you trust the process. You know that beneath the surface something is happening, even if your eyes cannot yet see it. The same is true for your desire. It is planted in the fertile ground of your imagination. The moment you assumed it as real, you gave it life. Now your task is to sustain that life through feeling and trust, not through force or doubt. Many lose their manifestation because they grow impatient. They begin to question whether it's working. They look around and see no change and start adjusting their belief to match the delay. But the delay is not denial. The delay is simply the unfolding. Just because you cannot see the route does not mean the journey isn't happening. The bridge of events is being built behind the scenes, often through the most ordinary interactions, the smallest conversations, the quietest moments. So detach, let it go, not in the sense of forgetting it, but in the sense of no longer clinging to it. You've done the work by imagining, by feeling, by claiming it as done. Now allow the unseen hand of creation to guide the rest. Live your days with peace, with gratitude, with the quiet confidence of one who knows their reality is shifting. The universe does not need your help figuring it out. It needs your faith. Stay in the state. Don't look for signs, be the sign. Don't count the days, let the days count your trust. When you detach from the how and when, you make room for the miracle to move, and it will, in ways you never saw coming. The path to winning the lottery is not paved with physical effort, but with mental persistence. While the world teaches you to hustle and struggle for every gain, true manifestation bypasses that system entirely. It asks something far more subtle and far more powerful. It asks for your loyalty to an inner scene. It demands that you persist in the imaginal act, unwavering, until that inner reality becomes your outer world. There is nothing casual about creation. The moment you imagine a scene that implies your wish fulfilled, you set a cause in motion. But that cause must be sustained. You cannot imagine once and then walk away hoping it will stick. That is not faith. That is wishful thinking. True manifestation begins with imagination, but it is fulfilled through persistence, through the willingness to return again and again to the scene regardless of what the senses show. Your outer world may contradict your inner vision at first. You may look at your bank account and see lack. You may hear voices around you that say it's impossible. But these are nothing more than echoes of your past thinking. They hold no power unless you give them attention. The only thing that matters is your imaginal state. If you will hold to it, if you will stay faithful to the scene of winning, of celebrating, of receiving, then everything else must bend. Persistence is not hard work. It is focused repetition. It is the quiet, steady return to your inner world where the win has already occurred. You do not need to shout it to the world. You do not need to explain or defend your vision. You only need to live it internally, completely, and consistently. Each time you revisit the scene, you reinforce it. You make it more vivid, more alive, more real. And eventually, the boundary between what is imagined and what is experienced disappears. What once lived only in your mind becomes fact in the world. This is how all creation happens, not through effort, but through the unseen force of mental persistence. Imagine yourself holding the winning ticket. Feel the weight of it, hear the announcement, see your name on the screen. Live the moment again and again until it becomes natural. Let it become the background music of your life. Not something you strain to remember, but something you effortlessly carry with you. This is persistence, not struggle but devotion. Most give up too soon. They try for a few days, maybe a week, and when nothing changes, they abandon the state. They revert to the old story. They allow the world to dictate their belief. But you must reverse that order. You must let your belief dictate your world. And that only happens through persistence. The law is simple. What you persist in assuming will become your experience. Not might, will. But you must persist. Not in force, but in feeling. Not in hoping, but in knowing. So don't ask how long it will take. Ask how long you're willing to dwell in the reality of your desire. Because the moment you make the inner scene more real than your current circumstance, you become unstoppable. And the lottery, it will come not because of luck, but because you dared to persist. Winning the lottery is not about luck, effort, or timing. It is about consciousness. It is about stepping beyond the limitations of the physical world and entering the truth of your inner reality. You don't chase the prize. You become the one who has already received it. Through imagination, feeling, faith, and unwavering persistence, you align with the version of yourself who holds the winning ticket. The moment you live in the end, detached from the how, and feel the outcome as real, the world begins to conform. The numbers, the check, the victory, they are not surprises. They are reflections of your inner certainty. It was never outside of you, it has always been within. Thank you, note. Thank you for listening with an open heart and a willing spirit. May these words remind you of the power you already hold. You are the creator, the chooser, and the cause. Believe it, feel it, live it, and watch as your world transforms. Close your eyes for a moment and step into the feeling of already being the person you wish to be. Let go of effort, let go of wanting. You do not need to try to become, just assume you already are. What would change in your posture, your voice, your thoughts? If you were already wealthy, deeply loved, and completely fulfilled, how would you carry yourself? There is no hesitation, no questioning. You do not look around for proof because you are the proof. You do not seek validation because you already know. The mistake many make is believing that circumstances shape their identity, but the truth is, your identity shapes your circumstances. If you identify as one who has, your world will adjust accordingly. If you identify as one who lacks, your world will reflect that lack. Do not wait for the world to grant you permission to feel abundant. Feel abundant now. Act as if the doors are already open. Speak as if the opportunities have already arrived. Move as if success is inevitable. A wealthy man does not wish to be wealthy, he knows he is. A loved woman does not chase love, she knows she is adored. They do not doubt, they do not beg, they do not question. They live in the conviction that what is theirs cannot be taken from them. So I ask you, how would you act if you had everything you ever wanted? Act like that now, and soon the world will catch up to your belief. The world you see, the circumstances you experience, and the life you live are nothing more than a mirror of your internal state. Your reality is not separate from you. It is an extension of your thoughts, your beliefs, and most importantly, your assumptions. You are not at the mercy of fate, nor are you bound by external conditions. Instead, your assumptions about yourself determine the script that life follows. If you believe yourself to be fortunate, opportunities seem to arise effortlessly. If you see yourself as struggling, obstacles appear at every turn. This is not a coincidence. It is the natural order of consciousness. Life is always reflecting back to you what you assume to be true about yourself. It is not enough to simply wish for a better life. You must assume the state of being the person who already lives that better life. Your inner dialogue is the most powerful force shaping your reality. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, every silent conversation you have with yourself determines the experiences that unfold before you. If you constantly tell yourself that life is hard, that success is elusive, or that love always ends in disappointment, the world will affirm those beliefs with precision. It is not that the universe is against you, it is that it is responding perfectly to the script you have written. Consider for a moment the power of assumption. If a man walks into a room assuming he is confident, self-assured, and worthy, the world responds to him in kind. People sense his presence, respect his energy, and treat him accordingly. On the other hand, if that same man enters with an inner dialogue of doubt, fear, and insecurity, the world mirrors that back to him. He is overlooked, dismissed, or treated with indifference. The difference is not in the external world, it is in his state of being. Many make the mistake of trying to change the external without first changing the internal. They chase wealth without assuming the state of abundance. They seek love while still carrying the wounds of unworthiness. They long for success while believing deep down that they are not enough. This is why so many struggle, because they are trying to force a reality that contradicts their inner assumptions. The world does not respond to what you want, it responds to who you are in consciousness. You must first embody the state of the person who already has what you desire. If you wish to be wealthy, you must assume the mindset of one who is already prosperous. If you desire love, you must walk in the certainty that you are already cherished. This is not pretense or self-deception. It is the law of assumption in action. Imagine for a moment that you have already arrived at the life you desire. How would you think? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? If you truly believed in your success, you would no longer entertain thoughts of failure. If you were convinced of your worthiness, you would no longer tolerate situations that diminish you. This shift in consciousness is what creates change, not mere effort, not external validation, but a deep internal knowing. Every day, you have the power to rewrite the narrative of your life. Observe your inner dialogue. What are you saying to yourself? Are you reinforcing lack, limitation, and doubt, or are you affirming your abundance, confidence, and certainty? The world cannot help but conform to the dominant thoughts you hold about yourself. If you desire a different reality, change the way you see yourself and the world will follow. Reality is not something outside of you, it is within you. The moment you truly grasp this, you will no longer chase, struggle, or fight against circumstances. You will understand that all change begins within, and as you shift your assumptions, the external world must adjust accordingly. What you assume to be true will manifest, for life is simply a reflection of your inner state. The greatest mistake people make is believing that they must first see change before they can feel it. They wait for circumstances to improve, for money to appear, for love to arrive, or for success to be validated before they allow themselves to feel abundant, loved, or accomplished. But this is not how reality works. The external world is only a reflection of what is already established within you. If you want to experience something new, you must first feel it as if it is already yours. Every great transformation begins with an inner shift. The moment you allow yourself to feel differently without waiting for proof, you set unseen forces into motion. Most people, however, do the opposite. They let their emotions be dictated by what their senses report. If their bank account is empty, they feel lack. If they are single, they feel lonely. If their goals have not yet materialized, they feel defeated. But this is reacting to the world, not creating it. To change your reality, you must generate the feeling of already having what you desire. Consider how you would feel if everything you wanted were already yours. How would you wake up in the morning? What kind of confidence would you carry throughout the day? Would you feel stress, doubt, or desperation? Or would you move through life with a quiet certainty, knowing that all you desire is already in motion? The answer is clear. The version of you who has everything is not waiting, worrying, or questioning. That version of you is living in the fulfillment of your desires right now. This is the key. You must assume the feeling before the fact. Many dismiss this as mere imagination, but they fail to understand that imagination is the foundation of all creation. Every great success, every great invention, every great transformation first existed in the mind of someone who dared to feel it real before it became visible. A wealthy person does not feel broke. Even if they lose money, they maintain the inner state of abundance, and soon their reality adjusts. A loved person does not feel unworthy, even if they are momentarily alone. They remain in the vibration of love, and soon love must manifest. It is not the outer world that dictates the inner world. It is the inner world that shapes the outer. If you struggle to feel the reality of your desires, start small. Close your eyes and imagine yourself already in possession of what you seek. Not as a distant dream, but as a present reality. How does it feel? Let that feeling flood your body, saturate your mind, and anchor itself in your being. Do not wait for proof. Feel it first. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something against your will. It is about aligning your emotions with the truth of what is possible. It is about stepping into the state of the person who already has what you seek. When you do this consistently, something remarkable happens. Your external world begins to shift to match your internal state. Opportunities appear. People respond to you differently. Circumstances rearrange themselves in ways you could never predict. Most dismiss this process because they are too attached to their physical senses. They believe only what they can see, hear, and touch. But what is seen is only a reflection of what has already been imagined and felt. If you want something new, you must be willing to feel it real before you see it appear. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are in consciousness. The moment you embody the feeling of already having, the world bends to mirror your state. This is not wishful thinking, this is the fundamental nature of reality. Feel it first, and soon you will see it. The greatest illusion that keeps people trapped in limitation is their reliance on the physical senses. They look at their bank accounts and decide they are poor. They see their empty home and believe they are alone. They observe their current job and assume they are stuck. This dependence on what is seen binds them to their present circumstances, preventing any true transformation. But the truth is this: what is unseen is more real than what is visible. The external world is nothing more than a reflection of the unseen world, the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold within. To change your life, you must stop reacting to what your senses report. The physical world is always a step behind the unseen reality of your consciousness. What you see today is merely the result of yesterday's assumptions. If you wish to create something new, you cannot allow what is in front of you to dictate your state of being. Instead, you must live in the unseen. Act as though you already possess all you desire, and the physical world will be forced to conform. Consider a man who wishes to be wealthy. If he continues to focus on his current financial struggle, feeling the weight of lack, worrying about bills, and reaffirming the belief that he is poor, he is keeping himself locked in that state. His physical world will reflect his inner conviction, ensuring that he remains in a cycle of scarcity. But if this man chooses to detach from the evidence of his senses and instead steps into the assumption that he is already wealthy, something extraordinary happens. His thoughts, his energy, and his actions begin to shift. He no longer carries the burden of lack. He moves with the quiet confidence of a person who knows abundance is his. And soon, his external world must follow. This is not wishful thinking. It is a fundamental truth. The unseen world, your inner state, is the cause, and the physical world is the effect. If you spend your life reacting to effects, you remain a slave to them. But if you turn inward and create from the unseen, you take control of your destiny. You must ask yourself, do I trust the physical world more than I trust the unseen? If you rely only on what your senses show you, you will always be limited by your current reality. You will never escape the loop of repeating what already exists. But if you learn to detach, if you train yourself to see beyond appearances, you will discover that true power lies not in what is, but in what can be. The person who truly understands this principle does not waver when faced with external challenges. If they are met with rejection, they do not accept it as final. If they experience temporary setbacks, they do not dwell in frustration. They remain steadfast in their assumption, knowing that what they hold in consciousness must eventually materialize. Living in the unseen is not about ignoring reality. It is about shaping it. It is about refusing to let the temporary dictate the eternal. It is about holding the feeling of your desire fulfilled so firmly that the world has no choice but to rearrange itself in accordance with your belief. Everything you seek is already yours in the unseen. The love you desire, the success you long for, the freedom you crave, it already exists in consciousness. The only thing that stands between you and its manifestation is your willingness to assume it before your senses confirm it. The moment you stop reacting to appearances and start trusting in the unseen, everything begins to shift. Detach from what is, live in what can be, and soon, What can be will become what is. There is a profound difference between those who have everything and those who struggle. It is not luck, nor is it chance. It is a state of being, a way of carrying oneself that commands reality to align with their assumptions. Those who have everything move through life with a quiet confidence, an unshakable knowing that they are worthy of abundance, success, love, and fulfillment. They do not question whether they deserve good things, they simply assume it as natural. And it is this assumption that shapes their world. You must ask yourself, how would you move if you already had everything you desire? How would you walk if you knew you were wealthy? How would you speak if you were already successful? How would you think if love, health, and joy were already yours? The answer is clear. You would not hesitate, you would not second guess, you would not shrink yourself or act from a place of lack. You would move with the confidence of ownership, and in doing so, you would naturally attract the very things you seek. Most people, however, do the opposite. They wait for external proof before they allow themselves to feel confident. They wait for money before they feel abundant. They wait for love before they feel worthy. They wait for success before they feel accomplished. But this is a backwards approach. The world is only a reflection of your state of being. If you wait for proof, you will never receive it. But if you embody the feeling first, reality must mirror it. Confidence is not arrogance. It is not forcing yourself to believe something that feels untrue. It is the quiet, unwavering knowing that what you desire is already yours. It is carrying yourself with the energy of someone who does not chase, beg, or hope. They simply expect. This expectation is a powerful force. It changes the way you think, the way you speak, the way you act. And as you shift internally, the external world must shift to match. Think of the people you admire, those who seem to have life effortlessly work in their favor. What do they have in common? It is not struggle, it is not desperation, it is certainty. They move with an ease that tells the world, I belong here, I deserve this, I am worthy, and because they assume it, the world confirms it. This is the secret. You do not wait for permission. You do not wait for circumstances to convince you. You decide. You embody the feeling now, and the universe responds. This applies to every area of life. If you desire wealth, move as though wealth is already yours. This does not mean reckless spending or pretending to be someone you are not. It means carrying the vibration of abundance, making decisions from a place of security rather than fear. If you desire love, carry yourself as though you are already deeply loved. You do not need to chase, convince, or prove your worth to anyone. Your very presence radiates self-assurance, and this energy draws love toward you effortlessly. If you desire success, think, speak, and act as though success is inevitable. When you believe in yourself without hesitation, others will too. The most powerful thing you can do is trust in your own worth. Stop waiting for the world to validate you. Stop looking for evidence before you believe in yourself. Decide now that you are already the person who has everything. Walk into every room with a quiet certainty that you belong. Speak with authority, think with conviction. This is not about pretending, it is about aligning with the truth that has always been within you. When you move with the confidence of ownership, you shift into the frequency of abundance. You stop chasing and things start coming to you. Opportunities appear, people respond differently, doors open. This is not magic, it is law. You receive what you are, so step into the version of yourself who already has it all, and soon your world will reflect it. Gratitude is the final step, the confirmation that you have fully assumed the reality you desire. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between the imagined and the manifested. Most people misunderstand gratitude, believing it is something to be expressed only after receiving a blessing. They wait until they physically see the money, the love, the success, and only then do they give thanks. But this is not how true creation works. Gratitude is not a reaction, it is a cause. When you are grateful for what you do not yet physically see, you declare that it is already yours. You affirm that you have received it in the unseen, and therefore it must appear in the seen. This is the ultimate act of faith, the proof that you truly believe. And belief is what brings all things into existence. If you can thank the universe now, before the evidence arrives, you step into the version of yourself who already has everything you seek. And once you align with that version of yourself, your physical world must shift to match. Most people, however, operate from the opposite mindset. They focus on what they lack. They dwell on what is missing. They constantly reinforce their current reality by complaining, worrying, and doubting. In doing so, they keep themselves trapped in limitation, unable to break free. What they do not realize is that their state of being is the only thing holding them back. The moment they shift into gratitude, everything changes. Gratitude carries a frequency of abundance. It sends a clear signal to the universe: I already have what I desire, and I am thankful for it. This energy is magnetic. It pulls experiences, opportunities, and circumstances into alignment with your assumption. It is the difference between someone who waits in desperation and someone who walks in certainty. One is filled with doubt while the other is filled with confidence. And confidence always wins. Imagine two people seeking wealth. One constantly worries about money, feeling the weight of scarcity. Every thought, every word, every action reinforces the belief that they do not have enough. The other, however, wakes up each morning and gives thanks for their financial abundance, even if at the moment their bank account says otherwise. They do not beg, they do not plead, they do not worry, they simply live as though their wealth is already a reality. The first person remains stuck, trapped by their own assumptions. The second person, however, inevitably attracts wealth because they have already embodied it in consciousness. The same applies to love, success, health, and every other desire. If you want love, be grateful now, as though you are already in the most fulfilling relationship. If you want success, give thanks now, as though you have already achieved it. If you want perfect health, express gratitude for your body's strength and vitality, even before you feel it physically. The feeling of gratitude seals the deal. It confirms that you have shifted into the state where your desire is already fulfilled. And once you reach that state, manifestation is inevitable. The key is to make gratitude a daily practice. Not something you reserve for moments when things are going well, but something you choose regardless of circumstances. Each morning, give thanks for what you desire as though it has already come to pass. Feel it deeply. Let the emotion of gratitude fill your heart. You do not wait for proof. Proof comes after belief, not before. Understand that the universe is always responding to you. If you dwell in frustration, lack, or impatience, it mirrors that back to you. But if you dwell in gratitude, if you walk through life knowing that all you seek is already yours, the universe has no choice but to confirm it. This is law. Gratitude is not just a virtue, it is a tool. Use it and watch how effortlessly your world transforms. The world you see around you is not separate from you. It is not something happening to you, nor is it something beyond your control. It is in fact a reflection, a mirror of your inner world, a shadow cast by your dominant thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. The mistake most people make is believing that circumstances are the cause of their emotions, their identity, and their sense of self. But this is entirely backward. Circumstances are merely the effect. The cause lies within you. Change the cause and the effect must follow. Consider a mirror. If you frown at your reflection, the image frowns back. If you smile, the reflection smiles. You would never try to change the reflection by reaching into the mirror. You simply change your own expression. In the same way, if you wish to change your external reality, you must first shift what is happening within: your beliefs, your assumptions, your dominant state of being. All of these project onto the screen of reality, forming the experiences you call life. The external world is nothing more than a delayed photograph of your inner world. It does not instantly shift the moment you change within, but given time, the world must rearrange itself to match your new state. This is why persistence is key. Many people make a temporary change in their thinking, but when they do not see immediate results, they fall back into old patterns of doubt and fear. They do not realize that the world is still catching up to the new self-concept they briefly adopted. If they had remained firm in their new assumption, the reflection would have changed in time. To truly transform your life, you must first transform your mind. You must choose, with unwavering conviction, to see yourself differently. If you believe yourself to be wealthy, despite what your bank account says, the world will eventually confirm it. If you believe yourself to be loved, even when alone, the world will mirror that assumption back to you. If you believe yourself to be successful, regardless of what the present moment suggests, opportunities will inevitably appear. The world has no choice but to reflect what you hold as true within yourself. But what happens when you refuse to take control of your inner world? You become a prisoner of circumstance, reacting to whatever life throws at you instead of creating intentionally. This is how most people live. They see failure and assume they are failures. They experience rejection and assume they are unworthy. They struggle financially and assume they are destined for lack. But all of these conditions are merely the delayed reflection of old assumptions. The moment they shift their self-concept, the world must begin to rearrange accordingly. Your past does not matter. Your current circumstances do not matter. The only thing that truly matters is what you assume to be true about yourself now. If you have lived in lack, you can shift into wealth. If you have lived in loneliness, you can shift into love. If you have lived in struggle, you can shift into ease. The moment you take ownership of your inner world, the external world will bow to your new state. Understand that the world is never against you. It is simply responding to you. It has always been responding to you. If you look around and do not like what you see, do not fight the reflection. Change the source. Do not struggle against circumstances. Shift the mind that created them. Speak as the person who already has what they desire. Think as that person. Walk as that person. And soon the world will have no choice but to reflect your new self back to you. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. Everything you desire already exists within you. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. A delayed photograph of your dominant beliefs, assumptions, and emotions. If you wish to change your reality, you must first change the way you see yourself. Feel it before you see it. Detach from the physical and live in the unseen. Move with the confidence of ownership, knowing that you are already the person you aspire to be. Express gratitude as though you have already received your desires, for gratitude is the ultimate confirmation of belief. And most importantly, remember that the world is only mirroring you. Shift your self-concept and the reflection must change. There is no struggle in this. There is no need to chase, beg, or force. Simply assume, embody, and allow the world to align with your new state. Walk in faith, knowing that what you seek is already yours. When you truly understand this, life becomes effortless. Manifestation is no longer a process. It is a natural unfolding of who you are. Thank you. You are not small. You are not ordinary. You are not here to bow before anyone. From this moment forward, you must abandon every thought that suggests otherwise. The world you experience is nothing more than a projection of the way you see yourself. Ask yourself, who are you? Are you the one waiting for permission to be great? Or are you the one who steps into every room with a certainty that you belong at the top? Let me tell you something. Life is not about waiting for approval. It is not about hoping that others will recognize your worth. It is about knowing deep within your being that you are already the best. And because you know it, the world has no choice but to reflect it. Walk as if you are unmatched. Speak as if your words carry power. Think as if your mind shapes the universe itself. Because it does. You do not need validation. You do not need reassurance. The only thing required is your unwavering assumption that no one is above you. Do not entertain doubt. Do not compare yourself. The moment you begin to question your supremacy, you invite resistance into your world. Instead, embody it. Feel it so deeply that it becomes second nature. If you assume yourself to be the best, life will prove you right. Others will see you as you see yourself. The opportunities, the recognition, the success, they will all gravitate toward you effortlessly. You are not waiting to become the best. You already are. Now act like it. The world around you is not separate from you. It is an extension of your inner world, a mirror reflecting back what you assume to be true. Every moment of your life is an unfolding of your deepest convictions, the silent and unseen beliefs you hold about yourself. If you assume yourself to be weak, unworthy, or lacking, then life will organize itself to confirm that assumption. If you assume yourself to be powerful, confident, and superior, then the world will shape itself in accordance with that belief. This is not a matter of chance. It is law. The external world is nothing but the crystallization of your internal state. It does not matter what others think of you. It matters only what you think of yourself. The moment you decide, with conviction, that you are the best, that there is no one above you, no one more deserving, no one more capable, the world will have no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. Think of the greatest figures in history, the ones who have carved their names into time itself. They were not waiting for permission. They were not waiting for others to recognize them. They assumed themselves to be great before the world ever acknowledged them. Their unwavering belief in their own superiority shaped the course of their lives. They acted as if they were destined for greatness, and in doing so they commanded it. You see, the mind is the architect of reality. Every thought, every assumption is a blueprint, and the world around you is simply the structure built upon it. If you assume yourself to be insignificant, then you will act in accordance with that belief. Your posture, your voice, your choices will all reflect it. And because of that, others will treat you as insignificant. But if you assume yourself to be the best, if you carry within you the absolute conviction that you are superior, then your actions will align with that assumption and the world will respond accordingly. This is not arrogance. It is the fundamental understanding of how reality works. There is no external force deciding your worth. Only you can do that. And whatever you decide, the world will affirm. When you walk into a room, do not shrink yourself, do not lower your voice, do not wait for validation. Assume that you are the most important presence in that space and watch how others subconsciously respond. They will take notice. They will feel the shift in energy. They will treat you as you treat yourself. Doubt is the only enemy. The moment you allow hesitation to creep in, the moment you question your own power, you invite the world to question it too. This is why many people remain stuck in mediocrity, not because they lack ability, but because they assume themselves to be ordinary. And so life keeps giving them proof of their ordinariness. But the one who dares to assume themselves as the best, who carries that assumption so deeply that it becomes their reality, will always rise above. You do not need evidence before you believe. You do not need someone to tell you that you are the best. You decide, and then life aligns with that decision. Everything begins within you. The wealth, the success, the recognition, these are not things you chase. They are things that chase you when you become the person who naturally attracts them. If you want to change your life, change your assumption. Hold the feeling of superiority within you. Do not waver. Do not seek external proof. Create it. Walk, speak, think, and act as if you are already the best. And soon, the world will have no choice but to agree. No one will hand you confidence. No one will tap you on the shoulder and say you are now worthy. If you wait for the world to recognize your greatness before you do, you will wait forever. Confidence is not something given. It is something taken, something claimed. It is a force that comes from within, not a reward bestowed upon you by others. You do not need approval, permission, or validation. You need only to decide within yourself that you are the best and then carry yourself accordingly. There is a common illusion that confidence is the result of external success, that once you achieve enough, once people respect you, once you reach a certain level, then you will feel secure in yourself. But this is backward thinking. It is not success that creates confidence. It is confidence that creates success. Those who rise above the rest do not wait for proof before they believe in themselves. They believe first. They assume their own greatness long before the world acknowledges it. And because they hold this belief so firmly, reality bends to accommodate it. Look at the people who command attention when they walk into a room. What makes them different? It is not always their looks, their wealth, or their status. It is the way they carry themselves, the silent yet undeniable energy that tells the world, I belong here. I am the one you should be paying attention to. They have claimed their own greatness, and because they believe in it without question, others believe in it too. Confidence is not arrogance. It is not about proving yourself to others or forcing them to recognize your worth. It is about knowing who you are so deeply that you do not need anyone else to affirm it. When you truly own the feeling of superiority within, you do not seek validation. You do not beg for recognition. You simply exist in your power, and the world naturally falls into place around you. The mistake most people make is waiting for the right circumstances, the right moment, the right words from someone else to tell them that they are enough. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a time when everything aligns just right to give you the confidence you desire. You must become it now. You must assume it now. Walk in the energy of confidence before you have a reason to. Speak with authority before anyone acknowledges it. Move through the world as if it is already yours, and soon it will be. This is not about pretending. It is about shifting your internal state to align with the version of you that already exists in your mind, the version of you who is respected, admired, and powerful. Stop thinking of confidence as something you must earn. Stop looking outside yourself for proof. The proof is irrelevant. It is your belief that shapes reality, not the other way around. Think of the people who are overlooked, underestimated, ignored. It is not because they lack ability. It is because they have not claimed their space. They shrink themselves, waiting for someone to tell them they are worthy of standing tall. But the world does not operate that way. The world responds to those who assume their own importance, those who walk as if they have already arrived. Do not wait, do not hesitate. Confidence is not about what you have accomplished. It is about what you believe you are capable of. Own that belief now. Step into it fully. Carry yourself as if you are the best, because the moment you do, the world will begin to reflect it. Everything you desire starts with the decision to claim it. The world you see is nothing more than a reflection of your own self-concept. Every interaction, every response from others, every success or failure you perceive is a direct result of the beliefs you hold about yourself. There is no competition outside of you. There is only the mirror of your own consciousness. The way others treat you, the way they react to you, and even the opportunities that appear or disappear are shaped by what you assume to be true about yourself. If you believe you are insignificant, the world will confirm it. People will overlook you, dismiss your ideas, and fail to acknowledge your presence. Not because they have power over you, but because you have unknowingly instructed the world to reflect that belief back to you. On the other hand, if you see yourself as powerful, intelligent, and worthy, that assumption will become the lens through which reality unfolds. People will respond to you differently. You will attract respect, admiration, and opportunities not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them internally. It is easy to believe that competition exists outside of you, that others are better, stronger, or more capable. But this illusion dissolves the moment you recognize that others are simply playing the role you have assigned them in your reality. The person you admire, the person you envy, the person you fear, all are reflections of your own consciousness. If you see someone as superior, it is only because you have placed yourself below them in your own mind. If you see someone as more deserving, it is because you have not yet accepted your own worth. When you elevate your self-perception, the entire world must shift to accommodate your new state of being. People who once ignored you will begin to notice you. Situations that once felt impossible will now open up effortlessly. Not because anything outside of you has changed, but because you have changed. The mirror of life is neutral. It simply reflects what is placed before it. If you do not like what you see in others, if you feel inferior or overlooked, the answer is not to compete, chase, or prove yourself. The answer is to look inward and adjust your self-concept. This is why confidence is not something you seek externally, it is something you cultivate within. The world cannot validate what you do not first validate in yourself. People sense on an unspoken level how you see yourself. If you move through life with hesitation, self-doubt, or feelings of unworthiness, others will unconsciously pick up on that energy and treat you accordingly. But if you step into a room with the certainty that you belong, that you are important, that you are the best, then the world will mirror that belief back to you. It is not about arrogance. It is not about forcing others to see your value. It is about embodying that value so completely that the world has no choice but to acknowledge it. When you assume the role of someone who is respected, admired, and sought after, life will respond in kind. You do not have to prove yourself to anyone. You do not have to compare yourself to others. You simply have to become the version of yourself that already exists in your imagination. The one who is confident, powerful, and undeniable. Stop looking at others as competition. Stop believing that someone else's success means your failure. There is no separation between you and what you desire except the limitations you have placed in your own mind. Others are only mirrors. They reflect your fears, your doubts, your strengths, and your potential. If you want the world to treat you differently, if you want more respect, more opportunities, more recognition, then begin within. Elevate your self-perception and watch as the world follows. Most people waste their lives trying to figure out how things will happen. They analyze, strategize, and hesitate, believing that if they do not have a clear path, they cannot move forward. But this thinking is backwards. It is not your job to concern yourself with how something will unfold. Your only responsibility is to embody the state of what you desire, assume you are already the best, and life will arrange the details in ways beyond your imagination. The mind is conditioned to seek logic, to demand explanations, to crave proof before belief. But this approach only keeps you stuck. If you look at your current reality and base your beliefs on what you see, you will forever be limited by what has already manifested. The world around you is simply a reflection of past assumptions, not a predictor of what is possible. If you want to change your life, you must stop looking for evidence and start living from the state of your desired outcome. Think of the most successful people you know. Do you believe they meticulously planned every step of their journey? Or did they first assume their greatness and let life unfold in their favor? The truth is, those who rise to the top do not worry about how they will get there. They simply embody the version of themselves that already belongs at the top. They think, speak, and move as if they are already successful, and the world rearranges itself to match that assumption. This is where most people fail. They hesitate because they cannot see the full path ahead. They think, I want to be the best, but I don't know how it will happen. They look at their current situation and see nothing that indicates success, so they give up before they even start. But the secret is this: the how is never your concern. The path reveals itself only after you assume the state of already being the best. When you step into the feeling of already being at the top, when you carry yourself with the certainty of someone who has already arrived, life responds. Opportunities appear, doors open, people and circumstances shift to align with your assumption. Not because you force them to, but because that is the law of reality. What you assume yourself to be, you become. It is not about pretending or faking it. It is about fully embodying the energy of your desired state. If you desire to be the best in your field, how would you think? How would you move? How would you speak? Start living in that state now, and reality will conform. Do not wait for proof before you believe. Believe first, and the proof will come. The logical mind will resist this. It will say, but I need a plan. I need to know what steps to take. This is an illusion. The steps will be revealed as you walk. Your job is not to force reality to comply with your timeline. Your job is to become the version of yourself that already exists in your imagination and let life orchestrate the details. This is why those who assume success experience it effortlessly, while those who doubt struggle endlessly. The doubters keep questioning, keep hesitating, keep searching for signs before they commit. Meanwhile, the ones who know move forward with unshakable confidence, and the world bends to their belief. Embody the what. Assume you are already the best, and life will take care of the rest. It is not your job to micromanage the universe. Your only responsibility is to become the person who already has what you desire. And when you do, the how will take care of itself in ways beyond your imagination. Every moment of your life, you are broadcasting a message to the universe. Through your thoughts, your words, and your actions, you are telling the world who you believe yourself to be. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you think, all of it is shaping the reality you experience. If you desire to be the best, you must align every part of your being with that truth. You do not wait for evidence. You do not seek validation, you embody it now. The world responds not to what you wish for, but to what you assume to be true about yourself. If you speak with hesitation, if your thoughts are filled with doubt, if your actions betray insecurity, the world will mirror that back to you. But when you think, speak, and move with certainty, when every fiber of your being is in alignment with the belief that you are the best, then the world has no choice but to confirm it. This is not about arrogance or pretending. It is about stepping into the identity of who you already are in your highest state. There is no need to prove yourself to anyone, because the best do not seek validation. They know who they are. They do not explain. They do not beg for recognition. They do not second-guess their worth. They walk with the quiet confidence of someone who has already arrived. Your thoughts must reflect this inner knowing. You cannot afford to entertain doubts or conflicting beliefs. The moment you allow yourself to think, what if I am not good enough? What if others are better? You have already given away your power. Your thoughts are the foundation of your reality. If you think like the best, you become the best. If you allow insecurity to creep in, you will see it reflected in your experience. Your words must be in alignment with your highest self. Every time you speak, you are reinforcing an identity. The person who is truly great never speaks in a way that contradicts their power. They do not downplay their abilities. They do not use weak language. They do not talk about failure or limitations. Instead, they speak with clarity, authority, and conviction. Their words declare their worth, not because they are trying to convince others, but because they know. And then your actions must follow. How would you carry yourself if you knew beyond any doubt that you were the best? Would you slouch, avoid eye contact, and shrink in the presence of others? Or would you stand tall, move with confidence, and own every space you enter? The way you walk, the way you enter a room, the way you hold yourself, these things matter. They are a signal to the world about what you believe to be true about yourself, and more importantly, they reinforce that belief within you. There is no separation between who you are and who you desire to be. The only gap is in your assumption. If you wait for the world to recognize you first, you will wait forever. Recognition does not come before belief. It follows it. You must declare yourself as the best long before anyone else acknowledges it. You must move as if you have already won. You must be the person you see in your imagination now. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every step you take must be in harmony with the truth of your greatness. There is no need to try. Trying implies effort, and effort implies struggle. Instead, you simply become. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. You do not fake it. You do not hope for it. You embody it. Because the best do not wait for permission to be great. They claim it. And once you claim it, the world will follow. The only true enemy you will ever face is doubt. Not competition, not circumstances, not lack of opportunity, just doubt. The belief that someone else is better, more capable, or more deserving than you is the only thing that stands between you and your greatest self. If you can eliminate that thought, if you can silence that inner voice that questions your worth, then the world will have no choice but to reflect your certainty. Doubt is subtle. It does not announce itself with grand gestures. It creeps in through hesitation, through comparison, through the small moments when you question whether you are truly capable. It whispers in your mind, what if you fail? What if they are better? What if you are not enough? And if you listen, if you allow those thoughts to take root, you weaken your own power. Not because the world has decided against you, but because you have. You must understand that the world is a mirror. It does not decide who succeeds and who fails. It simply reflects back to you what you believe. If you hold the assumption that someone else is superior, the world will validate that belief. If you assume that you are the best, the world will confirm that instead. Reality is neutral. It conforms to you. Look at those who rise to the top in any field. Do you think they never faced competitors? Of course they did, but they refused to acknowledge anyone as greater than themselves. They refused to entertain the thought that someone else was more worthy. They did not wait for external proof. They decided their own greatness. And because they believed it so deeply, life made it true. You do not need to outwork anyone. You do not need to prove yourself to the world. You only need to remove the one thing that keeps you from stepping fully into your power, the idea that someone else is above you. That idea is an illusion. It exists only in your mind. The moment you stop feeding it, it dies. There is no one outside of you who determines your success. No one else holds the key to your greatness. You are the only one who decides where you stand. If you believe you are second place, the world will make it so. If you believe you are first, everything will align to support that. This is not about arrogance. It is about certainty. When you walk into a room, do not see yourself as someone hoping to be acknowledged. See yourself as someone who already belongs. When you pursue a goal, do not wonder if you are capable. Know that you are. When you look at others, do not compare. There is no comparison. You exist in your own category. The great ones do not wait for validation. They do not wait for permission. They do not second guess their place at the top. They assume it, and because they assume it, they become it. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the belief that something or someone else has more power than you. Remove that belief, and there's nothing left to stop you. The world will bow, not because you forced it to, but because that is the nature of certainty. Doubt is the only enemy. Banish it completely, and what remains is the unshakable truth. You are the best, and no one is better than you. The truth is simple. You are what you assume yourself to be. There is no external force deciding your worth, no competition greater than the one in your own mind. If you walk, speak, and think as the best, the world will confirm it. Your confidence is not something given to you, it is something you claim. Others are only reflections of what you believe about yourself. And the moment you remove doubt, you remove every barrier to success. Forget the how, embody the what. Step into the identity of the greatest version of yourself now. The world does not make you, you make the world. Assume your power, own your worth, and let no one, not even yourself, question your supremacy. Thank you. There will come a moment in your life when reason will stand before you, pointing at all the evidence, all the facts, and telling you it is impossible. And yet within you there is a voice whispering, it is already done. Which voice do you listen to? The world you see now is nothing but a reflection of past thoughts, past beliefs, past assumptions. It is not truth. It is merely an echo of what once was. And if you desire to see a new reality, you must not argue with what your senses report. You must defy reason, not with struggle, but with unwavering conviction. To believe in the face of contradiction is the highest form of power. The man who looks at his empty hands but dares to feel the weight of abundance will soon find his hands filled. The woman who stands alone but inwardly embraces the warmth of companionship will soon find herself surrounded by love. Doubt is the only enemy. The moment you entertain the idea that what you want is impossible, you breathe life into failure. But when you hold to your assumption, when you feel it so deeply that the world around you becomes irrelevant, reality has no choice but to conform. Live as if it is done, not in pretense, but in certainty. Walk with the assurance of one who already possesses the thing desired. And when reason cries out against you, smile, for you know a truth that the world does not. Imagination precedes reality. What you believe with unwavering faith will one day stand before you, undeniable and real. The world you see before you is not the source of reality, but merely a reflection of what has already been imagined. Every great structure, invention, and movement that shaped history began first as a thought, an unseen idea held within the mind of one who dared to believe in something greater than the present moment. The senses will tell you what is. Imagination reveals what can be. And it is this unseen realm of thought that holds power far beyond what reason can comprehend. Reason operates within the limits of what has already been proven, bound by facts, logic, and experience. It demands evidence before belief, insisting that only what can be touched, measured, or seen is real. But imagination does not require validation from the world, it creates the world. It moves beyond circumstances and sees possibilities where none seem to exist. It is the very essence of creation itself, shaping the unseen into form, molding the invisible into reality. Consider those who have achieved the impossible. Did they rely on reason? No. They dared to believe in something greater than what their senses reported. The Wright brothers had no proof that a machine could fly, yet they imagined it, persisted in their assumption, and the airplane was born. Scientists, artists, and visionaries throughout history have all shared one common trait. They refused to accept the visible as the only truth. They trusted in their ability to see with the mind's eye what others could not. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the blueprint of reality. When you imagine something vividly and consistently, you impress it upon the subconscious mind, which in turn shapes your external world to match your inner state. Every breakthrough in your life begins in this unseen space. If you desire wealth, health, love, or success, you must first see yourself as already possessing it, not as a hopeful dream, but as a certainty. The mind, when disciplined to dwell upon a vision, will find ways beyond reason to bring it into existence. The senses deceive you. They report only the past, the echoes of former thoughts and beliefs. What you see in your bank account, in your relationships, in your physical reality, is nothing but a projection of what has already been assumed to be true. If you wish to change your life, you must look beyond what is and focus entirely on what you desire to be. To do this, you must shut out the external world and turn inward, allowing your imagination to paint a picture more vivid than anything your senses can contradict. There will be moments when reason fights against you, whispering that you are foolish to believe in what has not yet appeared. But reason only knows what has already been manifested. It cannot grasp what is in the process of becoming. Do not be swayed by its limitation. Hold steadfast to your inner vision, no matter how absurd it may seem to those around you. Live in the state of already having that which you seek, and in time it will take physical form. Those who live by reason alone are trapped within the prison of the past. They move through life repeating old patterns, confined by circumstances, believing only in what they can seek. But those who understand the supremacy of imagination walk a different path. They see beyond appearances, shaping reality from within, knowing that the world is but a mirror reflecting their deepest convictions. The unseen is always more real than the seen, because it is from the unseen that the seen emerges. The foundation of every future event, every success, every transformation lies first in the realm of thought. It is only when you fully accept this truth that you unlock the power to change your world. Believe not in what is, but in what can be. Let imagination lead and reality will follow. The world you experience is not separate from you. It is a reflection of your deepest assumptions. Every circumstance, every event, every encounter is drawn into your life based on what you have persistently accepted as true. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are always assuming something, and those assumptions shape the course of your reality. The secret to transforming your life lies in deliberately choosing and sustaining assumptions that align with the reality you wish to experience. Assumption is not mere wishful thinking. It is the act of mentally and emotionally accepting something as already done. It is living in the conviction that what you desire is not something to be attained in the future, but something that is already yours now. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. With full conviction. When you assume a state with unwavering belief, you impress it upon your subconscious mind, and the world must conform to bring about its manifestation. If you assume poverty, lack, or limitation, the world will reflect those conditions back to you, reinforcing the belief that life is hard and success is difficult. If you assume wealth, opportunity, and abundance, life will rearrange itself to match that inner conviction. bringing forth people, events, and circumstances that align with your assumption. This is not magic or coincidence. It is the law of consciousness. Your inner world dictates your outer experience. Many fail because they assume the wrong things. They see obstacles and instead of assuming their desires are already fulfilled, they assume failure, difficulty, and impossibility. They base their beliefs on what their senses report, reinforcing the same cycle of lack and limitation. But the secret is to assume what you want as if it were already a fact, even when there is no physical evidence to support it. Persistency is key. A fleeting assumption will not create lasting change. It must be a way of being, a state of consciousness that you inhabit with certainty. The moment doubt creeps in, the assumption weakens and the world reflects that instability. You must hold firm even when external circumstances appear unchanged. The world takes time to catch up with your new state of being, but if you persist, it has no choice but to conform. Think of the feeling of having your wish fulfilled. If you desired wealth, how would you feel knowing that all your needs were met, that abundance was already yours? That feeling is the key. It is not about affirmations or repeated words alone. It is about truly embodying the state, walking through life as if it were already done. When you persist in that feeling, reality bends to match it. Circumstances do not matter. If you assume yourself to be healthy while sickness lingers, do not be discouraged. If you assume yourself to be loved while loneliness remains, do not waver. The outer world is slow to change, but change it must. For assumption creates reality. The moment you stop looking for evidence and simply rest in the knowing that it is done, the process accelerates. Most people make the mistake of assuming based on what they see. They react to the world rather than create from within. But the key to mastery is to assume first and allow the world to catch up. You are not a victim of fate. You are the creator of your reality. Assume wisely, assume persistently, and watch as the unseen becomes seen. The impossible becomes possible, and the life you have longed for unfolds before you. The world you see is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting back to you the assumptions and beliefs you have held in the past. Your circumstances, no matter how fixed they may seem, are not permanent. They are the result of thoughts once entertained, emotions once felt, and states of being once assumed. If you wish to change your life, you must first understand that what you see now is merely the echo of what has already been accepted as true in your mind. To break free, you must learn to ignore the evidence of your senses and focus instead on the unseen reality you wish to create. Most people live as prisoners of their senses. They believe only in what they can see, hear, touch, and measure. If their bank account shows little, they assume lack. If their body shows signs of illness, they assume suffering. If love is absent from their life, they assume loneliness. And in assuming these conditions as real, they unknowingly sustain them. They react to appearances rather than shape them from within. But the secret to transformation lies in refusing to accept what is seen as the ultimate truth. Reality is fluid, not fixed. What you experience today was shaped by yesterday's thoughts, but tomorrow can be reshaped by what you choose to believe now. If you wish to change your life, you must begin by rejecting the limitations your senses impose. You must act as if the world around you is not yet set, as if it is still forming in response to your inner state, because in truth it is. The world you see is not the cause of your experience, it is the effect. The real cause is within you. This is why it is critical to discipline the mind. When circumstances contradict your desires, do not waver. If you seek abundance but face financial struggle, do not allow what you see to shake your belief. If you desire love but encounter rejection, do not accept loneliness as your fate. Instead, hold firmly to the vision of what you want. Assume it is already yours. Feel the joy, the relief, the confidence of having it now, even if your senses suggest otherwise. Doubt is the greatest enemy of manifestation. The moment you give in to the evidence of your senses and accept what is as final, you reinforce the very conditions you wish to escape. But if you persist in your assumption, the world must bend to align with it. This is not wishful thinking, it is the way creation works. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every success was first imagined and persisted in before it became visible. When you refuse to be moved by what you see, you take control of your destiny. You stop reacting to life and start shaping it. This requires faith, not in something external, but in the power within you to bring forth the unseen. It requires an unshakable commitment to live from the reality you desire, not the one you have inherited from past thoughts. Circumstances are deceptive. They seem solid, but they are always changing. They have no power of their own. They are shadows cast by your inner world, illusions that dissolve the moment you stop feeding them with belief. When you learn to ignore what your senses report and trust in the reality you have chosen within, the external world will eventually conform. Do not wait for proof. Do not seek validation from the outside. Simply assume, persist, and know that what you desire is already on its way. Ignore the evidence of your senses, for they only reflect the past. The moment you fully accept this truth, you will discover that you are no longer at the mercy of life. You are the master of it. Desire in its truest form is not something to be longed for, it is something to be lived. The great secret to transforming your life is to assume that your wish is already fulfilled, and to live from that assumption. This is not pretending or mere daydreaming. It is a conscious act of shifting your state of being. If you desire something, you must embody the feeling of already having it. Walk, talk, and think as if it is done. The world will then have no choice but to conform to your assumption. Most people desire from a place of lack. They wish, they hope, they wait. But as long as they see their desire as something separate from them, something in the future, something yet to come, they reinforce its absence. To truly manifest, you must abandon this mindset and instead assume the state of already being the person who has what they desire. If you want wealth, do not dwell on poverty. If you want love, do not dwell on loneliness. Instead, step into the feeling of already possessing what you seek. The feeling is the key. It is not enough to say you believe. You must feel as if your desire is already yours. How would you move through life if you knew your wish was fulfilled? How would you carry yourself? What emotions would dominate your days? You must begin to embody those feelings now, not later. If you wish to be successful, walk with the quiet confidence of one who already is. If you desire health, feel the energy and vitality of perfect well-being. If you long for love, move through life with the certainty that you are cherished. Doubt is the enemy of creation. The moment you begin to question whether your assumption is real, you step back into the old state of lack. The world may not immediately reflect your new assumption, but that does not mean it is not working. Reality takes time to rearrange itself, just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree. Your job is not to force things to happen, but to remain steadfast in your new state of being. Persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the outer world will shift accordingly. Many fail because they look for signs before they believe. They check their bank account, their relationships, their surroundings, searching for proof that their assumption is taking shape. But this is a mistake. The world reflects your state of consciousness, not the other way around. If you need external proof before you believe, you are still living in the old state of lack. The only proof you need is the inner knowing that it's already done. Living in the end means completely surrendering to the assumption that your desire is yours now. There is no room for trying, no space for effort. The moment you try, you admit separation between yourself and your wish. Instead, you must rest in the certainty that it is already accomplished. Imagine it vividly, feel it deeply. Let it become so real in your mind that it no longer feels like a future event, but a present reality. When you truly live in the everything changes. Your actions become effortless. Your thoughts align naturally with your new reality. You no longer seek, you simply express what you already know to be true. The world, ever obedient to the law of consciousness, will shift to match your assumption. Opportunities will arise, people will appear, and circumstances will unfold in ways you never could have planned. This is the power of living in the end. You do not wait for your dream to manifest. You become it. Now, walk as the person who already has what they desire. Think from the reality you wish to create, and let the world mirror back the fulfillment of your assumption. It is already yours. Now live as if you know it. Doubt is the silent thief of dreams. It creeps in unnoticed, whispering reasons why your desires cannot manifest, why your efforts will be in vain, why the reality you wish to create is impossible. The moment you entertain doubt, you give it power. You breathe life into failure by allowing uncertainty to take root in your consciousness. Manifestation is not a process of struggle or force. It is a process of unwavering faith. Faith is the bridge between imagination and reality, and without it, your desires remain nothing more than fleeting thoughts. Most people do not fail because their desires are unreachable. They fail because they waver. One moment they believe, the next they question. They allow their senses to dictate their faith, looking to the outside world for confirmation before fully committing to their vision. But reality does not work this way. The external world is merely a reflection of the internal. If you wait for proof before you believe, you will never receive it. You must first believe without evidence, without reassurance, without validation from the world around you. Only then will the unseen become seen. Doubt and faith cannot coexist. The moment you begin to question whether your manifestation is possible, you weaken its foundation. You allow the old reality, the one you wish to escape, to tighten its grip on you. If you plant a seed and then dig it up every day to check if it is growing, you kill it before it has a chance to take root. Your desires are no different. They require unwavering belief, nurtured in the soil of certainty. Faith is not blind hope. It is not wishful thinking. It is an inner conviction so strong that nothing in the external world can shake it. When you truly believe in your manifestation, doubt becomes irrelevant. You do not concern yourself with how or when it will happen. You simply know that it will. Just as you do not question whether the sun will rise tomorrow, you must hold the same certainty about your desires. The most powerful manifestations come from those who refuse to entertain opposing thoughts. They do not let setbacks discourage them. They do not allow temporary circumstances to dictate their belief. They know that reality is fluid, that what exists today is nothing more than the result of past thinking, and that a new reality is already forming in response to their current assumptions. They do not need to see immediate change to trust in the process. Doubt weakens the energy of creation. When you waver, when you go back and forth between belief and uncertainty, you send mixed signals to the universe. You plant the seed of your desire, but then you uproot it with contradictory thoughts. The universe responds not to fleeting wishes, but to deep, sustained conviction. If you believe one moment and doubt the next, you remain in a state of limbo, never fully stepping into the reality you wish to create. To eliminate doubt, you must discipline your mind. You must refuse to entertain thoughts that contradict your desire. The moment a doubtful thought arises, replace it with certainty. Do not argue with doubt, do not entertain it, do not let it linger. Shift your focus back to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that your desire is already yours in the unseen realm, and that the world is merely catching up to your assumption. Faith is the key that unlocks all doors. It is the force that transforms imagination into reality. The greatest minds, the most successful individuals, and those who have mastered the art of creation all share one thing in common. They do not doubt. They persist in their vision even when the world tells them otherwise. They trust in the unseen, knowing that the evidence will follow. If you wish to manifest anything in life, eliminate doubt completely. Stand firm in your belief. Hold onto your vision with unshakable certainty. Do not let the illusion of time or temporary setbacks deceive you. What you desire is already yours, if only you will believe. The world you see around you is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting back the state of your inner world. Every circumstance, every relationship, every opportunity or obstacle is simply an outpicturing of your consciousness. The great mistake most people make is believing that change must happen externally first, that they must see different conditions before they can feel differently. But this is not how reality works. External changes always follow internal shifts. When you believe something deeply within, the world has no choice but to conform to your belief. Most people live reactively. They let circumstances dictate their thoughts and emotions, believing that their happiness, success, or fulfillment depends on something outside of them. If their bank account is low, they feel lack. If a relationship ends, they feel unworthy. If an opportunity is denied, they feel defeated. They allow the outer world to control their inner state, never realizing that the process works the other way around. The moment you shift within, changing your beliefs, assumptions, and self-concept, the world will rearrange itself accordingly. The key to transformation is understanding that you do not need to fight against external conditions. Struggle is unnecessary. You do not need to chase, force, or manipulate the world to get what you desire. You only need to change within. If you see yourself as abundant, abundance will manifest. If you see yourself as loved, love will find you. If you see yourself as successful, success will unfold naturally. Your only job is to embody the state of the person who already has what they desire. The world cannot help but reflect what you consistently assume to be true. Your dominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs shape the reality you experience. If you continuously dwell on what is missing, you reinforce its absence. If you constantly worry, you attract more situations to worry about. But if you shift your focus, if you begin to feel, think, and act as though your desires are already fulfilled, you will find that life starts to reflect those new assumptions. This is why belief is so powerful. What you believe about yourself and your life becomes the blueprint that reality follows. If you believe you are unworthy, the world will mirror back experiences that confirm your unworthiness. But the moment you decide to see yourself differently, the mirror must change. It has no choice. The world does not create your inner state. Your inner state creates the world. One of the greatest obstacles to mastering this principle is impatience. Many people begin to shift their inner world, but when the outer world does not immediately change, they revert to their old way of thinking. They check for signs, they doubt, they question whether their efforts are working, but the mirror takes time to reflect the new image. If you plant a seed, you do not expect it to sprout instantly. You trust that it is growing beneath the surface. The same is true for your manifestations. The moment you shift within, reality begins to reorganize itself. Your only job is to persist in the new state, knowing that the outer world will inevitably conform. This is not about forcing yourself to believe something unreal. It is about recognizing that your inner world is the only true reality, and the outer world is just a delayed reflection of it. When you internalize this truth, you take control of your life. You stop reacting to circumstances and start creating them. You stop waiting for change and become the change. The most powerful thing you can do is assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and refuse to waver. Do not look to the world for validation. Look within. See yourself as the person you wish to be, feel it deeply, and persist in that state. The world will follow, because it has no choice. It is simply reflecting you. Everything you desire already exists within you. The world is not something you must struggle against, chase after, or force into submission. It is simply a mirror, reflecting back the contents of your mind. When you understand this, you stop reacting to circumstances and start creating them. You no longer wait for change, you embody change. You shift your inner state first, and the outer world follows effortlessly. Doubt is the only thing that stands between you and your desires. The moment you waver, you delay your manifestation. But when you hold unwavering faith, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and persist in it, reality bends to your belief. Your imagination is greater than reason, and what you consistently assume will always harden into fact. Your senses may try to deceive you, showing you a world that contradicts your desire, but you must. External conditions are just echoes of past thoughts. They are not final, they are not permanent. Ignore them. Live in the end. Walk, think, and feel as if your desire is already yours, because the moment you do, it is. This is the secret to true creation. Assume it, believe it, persist in it, and the world will conform. The power is within you, it always has been. Thank you.